Hi, this is James with Flagtronics. I'm going to cover the configuration and the firmware update process for a driver ID module for WRL. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with our file, and that's going to be a GitHub Flagtronics release. I'll put a link in this video, and we're going to go to the firmware and driver ID, and then we're going to download that. So that's downloaded here. Now the next thing we need to do is bring up our Wi-Fi. I currently have an FT200 plugged in, and I have a driver ID plugged in and powered on. The power for that can come from something as low as 5 volts, or it can come from the vehicle. So you can do this on a laptop of the vehicle or nearby. So I'm going to choose a Wi-Fi connection. This is at road at LAN right now, so there's a lot going on in the tower. And I'm going to connect this. There is no internet connection. So this is just Flagtronics with a capital F. So you can see that. And we should get logged in here. There is no internet, but you can see that we're connected to it. So it's going to be at the address 172.24.1.1. We pull that up. There's a hosted session here, and we have some information about the unit. This is a development unit, so mine doesn't have a serial number, but it will have a MAC address. Yours should have a serial number, and you should have firmware information here. So we'll go to device setup, and we have a few different settings. Mostly what you care about is the CAN settings to make sure that it works with your system. Now the default is that the FT200 has a termination resistor on, and it's at 500K. So the way that we ship the driver ID module matches it. It's also 500K, and it has a termination resistor on, enabled by default, and this is the address that it's on. You can change that, but in general, we recommend keeping the address the same and making the baud the rate that you reasonably need. If you need to change your termination resistor, that's fine. No problem there. It is software selectable, so we actually switch it inside the unit. There is a log viewer. This is mostly our information. You don't really need to see it. And there's a console. Again, our information. You don't really need to see the information there. If you got curious, you could type things in there. Here's the firmware update process, so I'll show going through that. And we will get the download that I just made. So it tells you what firmware you're about to load. And I'll go ahead and tell it to update. When you have other connections that are set to automatically connect, you will probably lose this one when it finishes. So you will have to connect back to it again. If you don't have connections that are set to automatically connect, then it will automatically reconnect on its own if you set it to do so. So it gives you some pretty good status information here. It takes roughly 30 seconds to come back up again. And in that time period, sometimes the connection is lost. It wasn't lost on mine, so update is complete. And everything looks good. And if I wanted to set this to 1 meg, for example, then, and let's say turn off the termination resistor, we can see how this changes. It's actually doing a restart, and it is maintaining the connection. Your SSID is going to be FT-driver ID and then a partial part of your unit information. So we can go to CAN settings, and we can see now that it's at 1 meg. Termination resistor is disabled. We got the right firmware. And when you come into this menu, there is a password credentialing initially, which mine automatically went through. And currently that's just admin and admin. So it's set up so that you can get in somewhat easily and gain access to it. And that covers the whole process. Thank you.